Let's put some shelves on this son of a bitch.
I'm gonna do it myself, and I don't need nobody else. I'm gonna do it myself, and I don't want no fucking help. And if it gets too hard, I'll go to YouTube. And if that don't work, I guess I'll hire a dude. If I was an expert builder and the framing was all perfectly true and exactly equal in all parts, I wouldn't have to go through this one by one. But because it's not, I'm making sure that each shelf knows which part of the structure it goes onto. So if one is a few millimeters that way or that way, I'm allowing for that because I'm doing it myself and it's not perfect. And that's one of the things, when you let go of that need to be perfect, you can just have a great shelf that's not perfect, but it's still awesome. There are probably better ways to do this. I just don't know them. Well, it's time to cut out the bits of the plywood that I already marked. You saw how I did that. Now it's time to cut them out. I'm gonna use 2 tools to do that. I'm gonna use, for starters, this drill. Then when I use my jigsaw, I'll be able to make that right angle cut. And that's one of the tricky things about a jigsaw is you can curve a little bit, but if you wanna do a right angle, how the heck are you gonna do that? You gotta use the drill. Unless like a medium-sized dog bumps into it or something, there's no way that board is going anywhere. First step, I've kept the hole inside the cutting line. I'm gonna come with the jigsaw up here, and then we're gonna go in there, and we're gonna go across, and it's all gonna make sense. By the way, I'm not like super awesome at this. I'm learning it too, but this is basically, from everything I could read online, this is how you're supposed to do it. I feel like there's some good honesty today. So I made these cuts. I can already see that they're not perfectly straight, but it's gonna have to do. Started there and came in at an angle, met the line here and kept it straight. Now I'm gonna start over here, come across the other way and straighten it out there. I'm doing it myself! Ugh. Roughly 45 by 90 millimeter board that needs to fit in here. Well, boom. That's how you do it. And I had to do that. Fuck. 32 times I had to do that. So why do it myself? Why take the time to learn, the time to make mistakes, the time to fix them, and probably triple the cost of buying the same thing in a kit at Bunnings or Home Depot, wherever you live? Well, because when you do it myself, you're the one that gets to say, wow, I made a hole and it's the exact same size as this piece of wood. And now the wood's in the hole and it's just fitting. And in a world that's so chaotic and where things often don't fit together, you have this little moment in your workshop or your garage or a back alley or wherever you do your projects where you can say, fuck, I did it myself. Remember when I was measuring these and before I cut them, I numbered them so I know which piece goes with which part of the structure. And that's just to make sure that with those little deviations that you encounter, that it fits extra nicely. So I hope I've done the right thing. Ooh. Oh yeah. The next challenge I have is that these long boards aren't perfectly straight. They tend to bow in or out. I have to literally pull this back, clamp it, and then drive the screws. Otherwise, it's not gonna have a hole in there. Now, so you can see what happened here. I had to go back and take them out because when I went to go do this, it was getting stuck. I was getting stuck like that. Okay, so I put him on there. I pull it, put him on there, line it up here, yeah? Then screw back in, and now you can see I've got that's going in and out of the hole. The old in and out, that's what I call that. And so I'm gonna screw these down, but it's gonna take a lot of clamping and pulling. Don't do what I almost did, okay? When I was pulling this, the whole bloody thing started to tilt over on me. So get a friend to brace it on the other side. I mean, you're still doing it myself, but you're doing it myself with a friend helping you because you don't want to die. All right, well, it wasn't easy, and I got my friend Gatesy, he's the dim producer, to help me pull these. We got these clamped down, so we've got the clearance we want. Don't be ashamed if you have to get some help, okay? That's one of the things I've gotten a lot of letters. Well, I haven't gotten any letters, but some people were thinking of maybe writing and asking, but what if I need help? Does that make me a failure? No, you could have a friend or two friends. The only difference is you're doing it myself. The satisfaction that you get when you complete an Ultra Shelf is hard to explain. You're like when you see this baby towering over your head and you know that it could probably kill you if it fell on you. But you built it. You built something that could theoretically crush you. Is that a good feeling? Yeah. It can be put in a barn. It can be put in the living room. If you don't care about aesthetics in your house. As you get better at dimming, you'll be able to build stuff that will be allowed in the main house. But for now, stick to garage and barn. I'm ready to cut my center vertical beam so I can lay the whole thing down and then slide it through those holes. I hope they fit. Now we're gonna lay it over. I think it weighs about 300 pounds already. And we're gonna slide the center post in because of the dimensions of the garage, there's really no way to do it with it stood up. I can't tell you how happy I am. On the first try, we were able to slot that piece of hardwood through all those little holes I made. I didn't think it was gonna probably happen. Just if you're off a little bit on one end of it, by the time you get to the other end, you're gonna be off that much. And that's the way physics works. I don't have time to explain that. I can't even believe it. I'm about to cry right now.
That is.
Oh! We did it! That's a good feeling right there. These aren't fastened yet, so I'm gonna hold them in place with this while we stand it back up. Definitely get a hold of some of these. You're gonna use them all the time, I promise you. Thanks, Marty. Couldn't have done it without this guy. Honorary, do-it-myself team member. One of my best friends, Marty. What's your last name? I'm gonna unclamp these, and that's gonna slide this center post down, and so I know it's gonna sit nicely on the ground. So now I'm gonna reclamp it, and then I'm gonna pre-drill and fasten that sucker to the rest of the frame. This thing's going great today. Really good day. Because most of the force is downwards and being supported by the ground, gravity-wise on this particular beam, I'm not as worried about putting two screws. I'm just gonna put in one screw per juncture. They're pretty big screws there, 75 mil, 14 gauge, so that's some serious shit, right? All right. Now there's just one more step, and then I could theoretically be finished, except for the cosmetic stuff. Maybe a stain job, maybe a paint job, I don't know. Still in negotiations about that with the boss, but gotta put the roof on this thing. And then pretty much Ultra Shelf structurally will be finished. And there's no words for the joy that you're gonna feel when you look at this thing and you say, you know what you're gonna say, I'm not even gonna tell you. No cuts on this one, just a nice flat piece of wood. And that's gonna create an extra shelf on top. Ultra Shelf! Ultra Shelf! Just gotta screw those in. All around the plywood areas I'm using really small gauge 40 millimeter screws, and they go in like butter, and you just sink them right into the frame. Ultra Shelf is basically finished, but I want to put some white paint along the horizontal beams, and it's not a huge job, but it doesn't hurt to have a helping hand. So I brought my friend Freya here. She's gonna help, and she's got her safety gear on. Are you ready to dim? I thought I was finished building, but I decided to slot in end pieces here to give it more of a finished look. So I'm just gonna cut up a few of those. I forgot to put on the thing that gets all the sawdust. Did you see it shoot out? Look at that. These are the little moments that you'll become addicted to when you start doing it myself. Look at that. It's like it was born in there. And it's a lot more flush and a lot nicer. So that's why you're gonna do little things like this. It's not always necessary, but that little extra touch, that's the touch of quality. Well, good morning. Looks like the second coat of paint's all dry, so it's time to take the paint off. In the future, it's probably better to take the tape off while the paint's still wet, but I didn't do that, so hopefully I'm not too fucked. The Ultra Shelf is essentially finished, so it's exciting. Feels like Christmas morning. I'm like, oh, what is it? Oh, what have you got me? Is it an Ultra Shelf? Yes, guilty. That's coming off pretty well. A little bit of paint there, but I'll be able to get that off easy enough. Oh yeah. Oh Jesus. Oh yeah. Oh. I mean, to be honest, my paint job isn't gonna win any awards. There's a little paint on there. That's Ultra Shelf. And you can see the result. Huh, where'd all that go? Yeah. Tons of room left too. I made a shelf, but I didn't know it would be such a high shelf, such a wide shelf, a supply shelf. I did it myself, and I called it Ultra Shelf. Wow, that concludes the Ultra Shelf Trilogy, and it's also the end of Season 1. What a journey it's been on, but guess what? If you liked Season 1, Season 1's bullshit compared to Season 2, because we got so much exciting stuff planned, and also, I don't want to spread rumors, but there is talk of a season holiday special coming out. I'm not done.